How did a kid who was introverted, bullied in school, and had a horrible relationship with his father become the wealthiest man in the entire world? And how did he bounce back from almost going bankrupt? That is the question I will answer today as we delve into the history of Elon Musk.
If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve.
Elon Musk was born in Pretoria, South Africa in 1971. He had 5 siblings and was born in a 2-parent household. His father was an engineer and his mom was a model. For the most part, his childhood was pretty standard. Until 1981. Unfortunately, at the young age of 10, his parents got a divorce. In this divorce, Elon decided to go with his dad, Errol Musk, which would end up being one of the worst decisions he would make. Elon and his dad had a rocky relationship to say the least, and it wasn't helping that he was being bullied at school. At one point, it got so bad that he was bloodied, pushed down the stairs of his school, and fell unconscious. He was in the hospital for almost a week. Although Elon wasn't having the best time at school or home, he always loved technology. His dad was an engineer and often took him to work to see the incredible technology and innovations. This played an instrumental role in why Elon loved technology so much and how he became so innovative. During the divorce, Elon bought his first computer and used it to teach himself how to program. His first entrepreneurial moment was creating and selling his first game, called A.I.R, for $500. This showed the early stages of his genius. Elon attended school during this time, and since he was a shy student, he was often more fascinated with books and science than communicating with people. Elon moved to Canada at 17 to avoid South African military duties and attend university. Elon studied there for about 2 years before deciding to change his life forever. In 1992, Elon moved to the United States, where he would start his financial empire. He decided to get a PhD at the University of Pennsylvania, but only 2 days later, he dropped out because he wanted to pursue business ideas in the tech world with his brother. Elon and his brother Kimball founded Zip2, which provides online city guide software to newspapers, helping them establish an online presence. But Elon and Kimball barely had any money. They shared a tiny office and they slept and showered at a nearby YMCA. Even though Elon's idea was good, companies weren't sold on the internet because this was back in the early 1990s, which meant it was hard to get investors for his company. If Elon doesn't succeed in this business, he will stay poor forever, because if he fails in this company, he'll lose his credibility, and getting investors for his future companies will become more challenging. It was now or never. Elon and his brother would work tirelessly, and eventually, the hard work paid off. Elon and Kimball secured a $3 million investment from David O. Ventures. This was a massive breakthrough for Elon because they could now hire more employees to help with his company. Musk and his team landed a huge partnership with the New York Times, one of the largest newspapers. This would give him more opportunities to scale his company. He later sold Zip2 to another company called Compaq for $307 million. This was Elon's first successful company, and this was only a taste of what was to come. In 1999, Elon made his next move. He founded X, an online banking service for person-to-person payments. He used $12 million to fund it, and the company quickly gained a ton of traction. X was the first online banking service that allowed payments to be sent via email. In 2000, X merged with a company called Confinity, which had developed a service named PayPal. But in September of 2000, something terrible happened. Elon went on a vacation to take a break from all the work, but when he returned, he was ousted as CEO by the board, and the new CEO, Peter Thiel, took over. Elon was devastated because he had invested so much money into this company that someone else had taken over. Despite this setback, Elon was in for a big payday. In 2002, eBay bought PayPal for a whopping $1.5 billion in stock. Since Elon was one of the most significant shareholders in PayPal, he earned an unbelievable $175 million in profit. But the story doesn't end there. In 2002, Elon Musk founded SpaceX using $100 million from the PayPal deal. This would be one of the most innovative companies he's made, but he would still face challenges as getting into the space exploration business isn't easy. While Elon was developing SpaceX facilities, he invested in Tesla Motors, a decision that would end up changing his life forever, but we'll get to that later. Unfortunately for SpaceX, the team encountered a lot of challenges because they had to build the rocket engine from scratch, and while that was happening, Elon was having trouble getting regulated, not to mention that they were having major financial issues, and if they didn't convince investors soon, the company would go bankrupt. But it wouldn't be easy, because why would investors invest in SpaceX when they could invest in a more established company like NASA? Despite all of these challenges, they would start the development of the Falcon 1 rocket, a small liquid fuel rocket for low-cost launches. But there was still a problem. It was hard to hire engineers because most of them wouldn't want to work with SpaceX because of the limited funding they had. This would make their lives much tougher, but Elon wouldn't give up. After 4 years of development, SpaceX would officially launch the rocket, but it failed. You heard me right. The launch failed because of engine issues. This was horrible. People doubted them even more than ever, and companies wouldn't give them an investment. But Elon was determined to prove everyone wrong and prove that private companies could compete in the space industry. So Elon decided to launch again in 2007. It failed again. SpaceX was going to be in shambles if they didn't come up with something soon, and most people thought that they were going to go bankrupt. But I guess Elon took third time's a charm, literally, because in 2008 he would try it again. This time, it was a massive success. This made SpaceX the first private company to launch a rocket into orbit. This showed that they could compete with the other companies and thrive in the industry. After proving they could launch successfully, they would get a deal with NASA for $1.6 billion. On top of this, they also got deals with Google and Fidelity for $20 million. This funding finally allowed SpaceX to pay more engineers and continue making rocket ships. While SpaceX was developing a rocket ship, Elon was developing an electric car called the Tesla Roadster, the first electric sports car. Elon's goal was to make electric cars a viable option, which was a great goal to start with. Little did he know this company would turn into something much bigger. The Roadster would generate $20 million in revenue. This made the Roadster one of the first successful electric cars of the 2000s. While this was a success, Elon was just getting started. In 2008, the original leaders of the company had a disagreement due to some leadership changes. This made Elon the company's CEO and the product architect for Tesla. While things were going well, Elon faced some significant challenges. 2008 would be a devastating year for businesses and for Elon Musk. Tesla ended up burning through all the money it had during the Roadster's development, and by late 2008, they were entirely out of money. And Elon didn't have enough personal funds to keep the company going and even had to borrow money to pay his bills. He said himself that he was borrowing money from his friends to pay rent. If they didn't do something soon, Tesla and SpaceX would go bankrupt as no one had more funding. But while Elon was going through all of this, something even worse would happen that would put even more pressure on him. He was getting a divorce. Elon and Justine Musk had 6 children together, and this broke Elon's heart. This also meant that he would have to pay the child's support. This meant that he would have to pay regardless of his financial struggles. It felt like everything was falling apart, and he needed a literal miracle to get out of this, and a miracle he would get. Elon was able to secure around $40 million in emergency funding for Tesla from the investors who believed in him. He would also do some insane cost cutting, laying off tons of people and removing anything unnecessary to stabilize the company. But this was only temporary because in early 2009, he would get a big break. Elon secured a $465 million loan from the United States Department of Energy. This would provide a much-needed lifeline for the company. This would finally allow Tesla to launch their next car, the Tesla Model S. This car was unveiled in March 2009 and shocked many people. It's something nobody has ever seen, a luxury electric sedan. This built up a lot of hype, and people were excited about its release in 2012, but we'll get to that later. Because over at SpaceX, big things were about to happen. On June 4th, 2010, they launched the Falcon 9, a rocket they had worked on for 5 years. This time, the first launch was a success, and this was a massive achievement for SpaceX because it had become the first reusable rocket to launch into orbit. Tesla and SpaceX would continue to work hard until something huge happened in 2012. Tesla had finally released the Tesla Model S, which was a massive success. The car was well received and, in its first year, made around $204 million in revenue. But it doesn't stop there. Over the next 3 years, the car would become even more popular, and after it was all said and done, it made $16 billion in revenue. This was insane, and Elon's dreams were finally coming true. He finally proved the haters wrong and showed that electric cars can be amazing. Over the next couple of years, Tesla and SpaceX would keep growing. Tesla continued to release electric cars while SpaceX successfully landed the Falcon 9 rocket ship, and Elon was reaping the rewards. His success is mainly tied to the Tesla stock, and since it was rising fast, so was his money. In 2018, after all his hard work, the Tesla board finally compensated him with $55 billion in stock options. As they kept releasing cars, the money kept coming in. From 2012 to 2020, Elon had an estimated net worth of $150 billion. After all the struggle for years, Elon's innovation finally paid off. But the success doesn't end there. Over the next couple of years, he started a couple of other companies, and he even bought Twitter, which he later changed to the name X. And in the year 2024, he finally did it. With an estimated net worth of $483 billion, he had become the richest person in the entire world. Elon's story is insane, and while I think we can all agree that Elon is a pretty weird guy, his innovative ideas and insane work ethic made him the man he is today. He took some of the most insane risks because he believed that even though things looked challenging, you could still do it if you put your mind to it. But while Elon's story was insane, have you ever wondered how Nintendo created some of the most recognizable characters in video game history? If you have, click this video here to watch their story.